Shalom, friends. This is the spot from where I normally address you on Shabbat morning. And this Shabbat, because of the very difficult decision that we took to cancel services, I'm not going to have the opportunity, the privilege to do that. And I want to tell you how much I'm going to miss each and every one of you. And how I'm especially going to miss seeing the children in shul. And it is my deepest prayer that this all be behind us soon and we could come back together in real time. I want to share just a few thoughts with you as we are about to enter into Shabbat. First is my profound sense of hakarat hatov, gratitude to the officers of our beloved synagogue, who have been on numerous conference calls over the last few days, working together to make very, very difficult decisions. And I can tell you the decision that we made today was heartbreaking. And members of our executive committee, the officers of the synagogue, made the decision with a very, very heavy heart, and yet felt that it was the right decision, and I support that decision. But we really should recognize the very, very hard work that our officers put into the shul and be grateful for their leadership, especially in trying and complex times such as these. I also want to perhaps put a positive spin on being at home this Shabbat and not coming out to shul. And perhaps there's a spiritual gain we can get from it, as much as we're going to miss being here. We learn in this week's Parsha that Moshe spent 40 days and 40 nights on Mount Sinai and Har Sinai and then came down. And the Torah tells us that his face was glowing, that he had some sort of rays of light coming from his head, from his face. And the commentators struggle to understand what exactly that meant, but the Ralbag offers a beautiful interpretation, which I thought is especially meaningful for us today. He says that Moshe spent time alone, just with God. And spending that time alone, just with God, without anybody else, allowed him to connect to God in such a profound way that simply looking at him, one was able to tell of the spiritual heights that he had reached. His opportunity to commune with God had a physical effect on him and actually made him look differently, as if his skin was glowing. That, according to the Ralbag, is what the Torah means when it says that rays of light were coming from Moshe. So as much as we cherish and need to come together with human contact, to pray together, to sing together, there is an opportunity that we can embrace this weekend as we are davening with our family or alone, the opportunity to connect to God differently than we normally do, the opportunity to connect to God in a quieter atmosphere, the ability to connect to God on our own time, not being managed by the time of the chazan or the timeline of the service. I urge you all to try to make this time that we are away from each other alone as an opportunity to serve God and to connect to God differently, like Moshe did at Har Sinai. Maybe our complexions will change from it, maybe they won't, but it can be a different and unique and perhaps uplifting spiritual experience. I want to close just by letting everyone know that we, the leadership of the shul, and Ruthie and I, we will be in contact, whether it's virtually by classes or by telephone calls, and that we are going to work very hard to keep our community united and together, even as we are physically apart. And I'll close with a tefillah, with a prayer, that the ministering angels that accompany us home from shul, as the Midrash tells us, every Shabbat, and as we go into our home and they see the table set and everyone ready and eager to celebrate Shabbat, that they bless the Shabbat and say, so shall it be next week. Well, my prayer is that even as we will not be walking home from shul, that the angels still visit us and still see us praying in our homes, and see the table set in our homes, enjoying a Shabbat meal with the candles lit, as we all sing together. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashares, Malachei melech malchei hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu. Shabbat Shalom.